Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, where we don't make mistakes, we make new projects. This week is shaping up to be a very exciting week. Why is that? Well, my contractor is due back towards the end of the week, which means we are going to hit the accelerator pedal and get across the finish line, whatever the cost. Obviously, I say whatever the cost because I have dumped a ridiculous amount of money into this house, but I think it's all worth it. I'm going to have an exceptional house for rent very, very soon. And I've also increased the property value both of this house and my house next door by proxy, because when you increase the value of your house, you increase the value of all the houses in the immediate neighborhood. So great, I essentially printed free money for myself. So let's take a look at the house. I have been hard at work since my last video, and I've got quite a bit to update. As you can probably see behind me, I have installed my rolling barn door. Let's start right there and then move across the rest of the house. We're gonna get to that in a second. Let's talk about everything else first. As you can see here, we have a nice, very heavy barn door up on the sliding rails. So this is literally just a 6-foot beam, 2x4 screwed into the wall. I also got some steel rails that I have drilled holes into, and this is a very, very, very basic setup. So you can see it's kind of ugly right now, but once you paint over it, you're gonna see this just disappears into the wall, and all you're gonna see is the rails. Obviously, you're gonna see it, but it's not gonna stick out like a sore thumb. It's gonna look like it belongs there as part of the house. So I have these mounted wheels at the top of the door. You can see here they're bolted in, they're black, they're gonna stay black. And this was my big mistake here. Initially, I had actually drilled the holes here and here. I had gotten it right the first time. However, when I went to go put the door on the rails, it was way far off. It was way too high, and I thought, oh no, I need to drill the holes down lower. So I re-drilled them, and I put the hooks, both of them, on the lower holes there. And then when I went to go hang it on the steel rail, I realized there was a piece of wood underneath the door holding it up. So now the whole door hung way too high. So I returned it to my original holes that I had drilled, and it actually landed perfectly. So I had it right the first time, but because I didn't trust myself, I just went ahead and drilled new holes and thought that I had screwed up. Well, that was a screw up. So that's the, like I said, new project I created for myself. I am going to get 2-inch rails because these are 2 inches wide. I'm gonna get a 2-inch rail. I'm gonna cut it right about here so there's like a nice little plate behind it. I'm gonna paint it black to match that, and you won't even notice that I made a mistake. You see here, I have got screws to keep it from rolling off the track. I guess you could roll right over it if you really wanted to, but I can probably put something down here on the floor. I may even put one of my door stops there, like the one that I used in here. So I got this magnetic door stop, and you can see it's magnetic off to the side, so I may be able to put a stop on the other side of the door that is magnetic. That'll hold it in place really nicely. As you may have noticed, my washer and dryer are now no longer stacked. So thank you to my friend Hawk for coming over with his very distinguished pair of hands to help me unstack that. Now I've moved them off to the side for now so that I can lay flooring and do all of the other things I need to do in the laundry room before reinstalling. I've also bought tile for the bathroom. I have more tile on order. I have black pencil tile to align the top of it. I don't think I have enough, but we'll see when we get there. I'm doing the best I can here. And then what else? I've also got these side pieces cut and stained and coated. They are actually ready to go. This one is the short one. I'm going to put a little bit extra effort into this because this is going to be the most visible because you can see it from here. It's going to go on that cabinet right there. So I'm going to sand this down a little bit and then do the whole cut, buff, and wax. Same with these. These are ready to go. This is the door and the drawer for my blind corner cabinet. This, I'm going to put in my house. I have the face for it that I took off of the other cabinet. I'm just going to sand that down, restain it to match what's in my house, and I'm going to use this. We may do another video on it later on. Over here, the blind corner is mounted, ready to go. I've even started storing things in it. Here's where it gets weird. So I really wanted to install ducting that went down and then out through the side of the house here, but I ran into some trouble. Let's just kick this out of the way. This, pay no attention to this. This was just kind of to keep it all in one piece and to, you know, just kind of get an idea of what I wanted to do. Let's take a look at this. I said that this was stupid, but this is even way more stupid than I thought. This comes up from the bottom of the house down here. It comes out of the wall here. And then it runs around and back down and in through the hole in the wall to the water here. Why did they not just connect it from here to here? Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. So I have called New Design Plumbing to come back over, my friend Mario, to connect this here from here to here, and to branch off of that to run a gas line. And we're just going to strap it to the wall. We're going to run a gas line out to about here, close enough to the washer and dryer, but still in a place where I can reach back and easily turn it off if there's any problems. And then I'm just going to build a box around it. So really, I'm going to hide all of this, the ducting for the exhaust, and once the valve is in, I can actually put the exhaust kind of right over it, right where it's going to connect and then come out through the hole in the wall right there. So this is all, once it's done being built out, it's all going to get hidden by cabinetry, which is what I'm really excited about. One last thing. I took this panel off because it was painted white, like, you know, crusty old white, like that door. I decided to do something really fun with it. So I sanded it down. You see, I have sanded it down. I've laid some primer on it. I'm going to paint that black because it was originally black. And then I'll just put like a coat of matte or satin clear on it. But unfortunately, my flat black is not cooperating. So I'm trying to clean the nozzle, but I may just have to get another can of something and borrow the nozzle from another can. So that's unfortunate, but once it's all done, it's going to be restored nicely. And then finally for this door, circling back here, we've got these wheels here. It turns out the door is just barely too wide for the way this is set up. So I'm kind of rethinking what I'm going to do. I may either just get rid of this wheel and only use this roller on the back, or extend this out farther so that I can reposition the wheel. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, we'll figure that out as we go. I have other things to do first.
Welcome to the reason why this video took so long to post. Before we get into it, I just wanted to give a brief explanation. I was having some technical problems. Apparently, I'm an idiot and was not able to get the audio working on my camera when I was shooting this video. However, I made so much progress that I can't just go back and reshoot it because that's would mean sanding everything down and pretty much starting over. So we're going to just continue on, and I will just narrate my process as we go. So you're just gonna see me kind of waving my arms around just like that, and talking about my project. So here, this is right where I started to find direction. And once I found a direction, I kind of got carried away. I figured out how I wanted to build this stupid box, and then once I built it, it's really weird, but thankfully you're not going to see any of the weird stuff. You're just going to see a nicely built little shoe rack. Really, it was biggest challenge here was running the ducting to have a fall from its point of connection with the dryer hose down and out to the side of the house. I think I did a pretty good job there of kind of maintaining a fall and without too many extreme angles, and there's no low spots. So the other good thing about this design, if you want to call it a design, or this shit show, is that you can take the whole bench out without having to demolish it. So that was really important to me because if there was any problems with either the water piping, the gas piping, or the dryer hose itself, you could just take the whole bench out. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but you could still put it back in without having to rebuild stuff. There's plenty of room underneath for your shoes. I was able to fit my boots in, as you just saw, and with a little bench on top that you can sit on or place your crap on or whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Oh yeah, here's where I'm talking about my next steps here. Once I get the skin on the whole bench part, I'm going to do like a back piece behind it with coat hangers and key hooks and all that stuff. So this is where I'm kind of laying it out in my head. It's going to go up there. It's going to be kind of a single panel, and then there's going to be a side panel where I have additional stuff going on. Haven't quite fleshed it out at this point in this project, but rest assured, I eventually figured it out. And then what else is there? There's nothing else to talk about, then I will just cut this out and keep moving on. See, cut that out. See what I did there? There's a bunch of little pieces. That was actually kind of like the downside to my artistic approach to this, because I didn't really have a plan. I ended up with a lot of scrap, and that's a little bit unfortunate because every stick of wood is like $97,000 now. So it's just a massive amount of money that I wasted. Over here, we're taking a look at the barn door. Those big, huge holes that I made, I cut out those steel plates, drilled holes, primered them, and painted them black. On that side was almost perfect, except for that bubbling there, which was really disappointing. So I just went ahead and painted the other side, and it came out with just a little bit of texture, which actually is not bad at all. And it was kind of the same deal on the other side. So really what was more important to me was that there was a consistency between the two plates, that they looked like they belonged together. And it also happened that I had a little bit of a texture on the panel itself. I kind of wanted it smooth. I suppose I just didn't primer it quite right, but I ended up with that texture. It still doesn't bother me. It's actually a really nice looking throwback piece. It feels very industrial when you put your hands on it. Looks very industrial when you put it in the wall. You'll see it later on. And it's just a really great piece. This was originally a circuit, a breaker panel. And so because it had been painted over so many times, I decided I kind of wanted to own the original, kind of throwback look of this thing. So I sanded it down, repainted it black, and put matte or satin clear on top of it all. Because what they say with satin, you want sheen, not shine. And then when you open it up, you get this really cool details from 1939 when the house was built. That's the rating for the breaker panel, and then all of the electricians that have touched this thing ever since, going back to probably the 60s. So I just think it's really cool.
I know I'm probably being a little too hard on myself, but I think this looks fine, but I'm looking at it like forcing myself into thinking it looks fine. I don't know. And then on this side, there is still the hole, but you never see that side. Even over here, you do see it. You most definitely see it, but if this thing is closed, which once is this closed? Yeah, you're still gonna see it. So, all right, well, shit. And on this side, you definitely see it. I just have to decide if I'm gonna do something about it. I'm not sure yet. And if so, what? What am I gonna do about it? What? Am I gonna do another plate behind it with the rail, or with the wheels on top of a plate instead of directly on the door? I could probably do that. I'd have to give up the washers on this side in order for these bolts to fit, or just get longer bolts, one of the two. Either way, I don't know. I'm gonna come back to that later. But I definitely have enough steel. It's over there. I could just do this on the other side as well. That's an option. Or I could just not do it. It's a rental. They'll deal with the hole. I'm not the one that has to live with it. Over here, I'm happy with it. It definitely looks better black than painted white with house paint. I left the screws just the way they were because I felt like having intentional flaws kind of makes the unintentional flaws a little bit less jarring, like that right there. I nicked it when I was screwing this one in. The screwdriver slipped and went poked right into it. No one's gonna care except for me. I'm the only one that's gonna care. But I think this looks really cool. You still open it up and you can see the J box, but you still have this like just really neat, throwback to what this house once was. And obviously, none of that's getting addressed right now. I'm not even thinking about that. My contractor has to fix the way the door hangs. It doesn't close correctly. So I'm going to have him do that, because doors really take a lot of experience to get right. And I am never going to have that experience because I don't do this professionally. I'm a software developer, not a contractor. As you can tell from looking at this, I don't do this professionally. Time, and then just once they're done and ready, slap them on and
slap them on.
Be done with it.
God, that was bad audio. So here I've got all of the skin pieces put on, and you can really see the shoe storage there. I think the whole video is kind of zoomed in a little bit more than it needs to be, but I don't care. So there, that panel off to the right used to be on the cabinets, but I took it off because I needed a little bit extra space. But it turns out that panel is going to work just about perfectly on the side of this here bench, just with some trimming. At the time, I had to still order a bit for drilling the hole for the dryer duct. So I haven't put it on yet, but it's set off to the side. It's just about ready to go. Once I can make that 4-inch hole, it's gonna just go right together, no problem, assuming I don't screw up the cuts. Now from here, I I'm missing all the little trim pieces, quarter rounds, and edge pieces. So I still need to go to the hardware store and get those, at least at the point of recording this. I'm way past this at this point. But then you can see in the back of the shelf, it kind of rattles around a little bit. So because I want this shelf to come out so that you can service the dryer duct, I'm just going to get a quarter round and put it in the back. And then up in front, it's held with those 2 screws, and there's going to be a corner piece in the front. So this will be really easy to disassemble when you remove the whole bench and have to do stuff to the dryer duct. But it's also going to look complete. It's going to look like a whole completed unit. And then I got the bench on top. At this point, I don't even remember if it was nailed down yet at this point, but here I'm talking about how I'm going to fill the gap. I'm going to use 1x4 at the bottom and on the top to kind of give it like that craftsman kind of look. And then I'll have a board just like that running along the back with trim pieces kind of encircling it, so that it'll be right up against the wall with the bench underneath it. You won't really be able to take that off the wall, but you just won't need to. And then up above the coat rack and the key rack and all that stuff, that's kind of where we're going to have the shelves. And on the left side there, just to the right of the door, that's where you're going to have your keys and stuff. It's just so that, if someone breaks into your house, they'll, have ready access to your car keys. But that's not going to happen because there's a camera outside, watching the whole driveway. But, it'll be secure. But the point is, it's going to be a really nice space to be in.